Hello, welcome to Fiserv Forum. My name is Chris Spann. I'm the Director of Operations. We're going to be showing you our conversion going from our green Bucks court to our black Bucks court. I'm going to kick it over to Cameron Olson with our conversion staff.
About to go do a court changeover here, flipping from Bucks green to Bucks black. So we put the plastic on the courts, so when we stack the courts, put one flat with the plastic on top of it, and then the next piece goes on, it flips over the top so the paints don't rub on each other. That way we can preserve the court a little bit longer. And it all starts to look the same after a while, so sometimes plastics get just misplaced just a little bit, so you just gotta go back through and just re-straighten them. But yeah, it's a nice little 20-minute process before we start actually doing the hard work. That's when the fun begins. With the new COVID rules and everything, we have the sponsorships on the court. It's a sticker, I think, that they put on before the games, and for us to get it off, you just gotta cut the stickers a little bit. Just something new this year, but you just adapt to it, and by the next game, they'll have another sticker on there. We call them openers. What we call them is what they do, help open the court, gives a little bit better leverage on getting it open. You put them in each court piece, just give it a little pull, and then help slide it open. We hook them, each court piece gets hooked on a little bolt right here in the corner. So that's where when we set it in together, and then it's just set in right there. It's just a big puzzle, just the part of decomposing it right now. And it's hard work. About each court piece weighs, I don't know, 175, 200 pounds, so it's a workout. That's why we have about 4 guys on each court piece, because, like I said, it gets heavy. As of right now, the other court's still sitting back in maintenance, so you have to at least keep this one out here for now until we get the whole other next court out, then bring this one back in. Get one project done, move right to the next, and just keeps going, working with each other, communicating what needs to be done. Like we have one guy back in maintenance right now. He's just getting it ready so we can move more efficiently to the next court. See over here, we're just about to take the hoop off. Let's take the sides off just so they don't get caught. All right. It's a big piece of equipment there. We've had a couple mishaps every now and then where it kind of slips off a ramp barely, and you gotta get a forklift out here. And they've the hoops a couple times have bent those ramps. There's so much weight on those hoops. One court down. Now we're just gonna start bringing the black court out, and we'll push the green court back in, and then we'll take a nice break, recoup.
So as an HVAC tech, we can run into a variety of issues. We can see, a dishwasher go down, a chiller go down. It just depends on, the emergency or whatever equipment has failed, and we're the ones they call when that stuff happens. So on top of monitoring building pressure, temperature, and humidity, we can get calls for any equipment in kitchens or rooms that goes down. So here's a mechanical room on the catwalk. We have a couple of them. This is our air handling unit, so it helps us control temperature, humidity, and pressure in the building. We have 4 of these. So we use 4 to control pressure, temperature, and humidity inside the bowl for all events. Sometimes we'll have one of our air handling units just shut down and building pressure is affected, temperature can be affected. We also deal with the fire alarm system. The last thing we want is for the fire department to get called to the building. So there's some responsibility to it, but as long as we stay on top of it, we usually don't run into many issues. We have preventative maintenance programs that help us keep on top of the equipment. So part of our prep work for HVAC is that we have to meet certain parameters for NBA events. So we have to be within a certain temperature range, certain humidity range, and we run our equipment in advance to meet those parameters. We're monitored 6 hours before tip-off and 6 hours after tip-off. So we have to stay within those parameters during that time frame. The part where the NBA could find us starts 4 hours before tip-off, where we have to be within certain temperature and humidity ranges. Inside the scoreboard, there's sensors that the NBA monitors, and that's how they're able to determine if we're within range for temperature or humidity. But there are some all over the bowl as well that we can monitor space temperatures so that fans are comfortable when they're seated at our events. So this is where we monitor everything going on. It's our building automation system, Metasys. We'll monitor everything from temperature to humidity, and then all of our mechanical equipment we can see here as well. So this is how we control building pressure, temperature, and humidity in the bowl for when players are on the court, and when fans enter the building, try and keep everything comfortable for them. And then this is our NBA sensors, so we can see where our humidity levels are at, our temperature levels are at on the court, and we can trend it all to kind of make adjustments as needed. We have graphics of the entire building. We can see what's happening in each room, what equipment's running, what's not running. We can schedule everything for events. It's kind of automated. Just staying on top of things is the main priority.
Everything from stages, all our hoop pads. As you can see, one court goes in, green is right here. Our black court's starting to come out, Marquette's still over there. Yeah, everything's all stored in here. So we got all of our chairs that normally go out for each event, concerts. Nowadays with COVID, a little bit more restrictions on seating, so we have a little bit more of our seats down in here, actually, to comply with the CDC rules. That's a tight fit back in here with 15 rows of Marquette, and then you have 15 rows of Bucks. So it's a tight squeeze in there. After the season's done, Marquette court will probably be taken to one of our storage facilities, and both Bucks courts will be stored here. But we'll see when that happens. Hopefully there's a nice deep playoff run from the Bucks. I'm counting, Jamie. Yeah, so as you see, it just pops right back on. A little hook or a little bolt there, and then you just always just swing it shut. But as we got a little crack there, so I just scoot it over. That's why we have hammers to help close the gaps. We have some grind marks into the floor that we use to help us know where the back of the court starts. So that way we know where to start the court every time, so it's always the same. After the first row's down, you kind of hope everything then goes pretty smooth. I've had it in the past where it's just off a little bit, usually by the third row, you can tell. I know one time we had to, it was only 3 rows, but we had to open it back up again and reconfigure it a little bit to make sure we could shut it by the third row in. And then once we get past row H, which is the middle row, I usually look at half court and I can kind of tell how the court is going together. Right now it's going pretty smooth. Hopefully not jinxing myself, but you always have steps throughout the way that you realize, like, oh, usually around this point this happens if something's off. Around this point this happens usually. It's just a giant puzzle. You just put it together every time and hope it goes the same together every time.
gone through last piece.
Woohoo! Oh yeah. And can I get some action? And
One of the guys, Matt, he's been changing nets, and the other day he was joking before the game that they're undefeated since he's been changing nets, and it held true last night still. So we're just going to keep making him change nets until that streak gets broken.
Every time I put up the nets, they go undefeated. So I think they're 6-0 when I do the nets this year. So, you know, it's pretty big bragging rights. But yeah, so I put up the nets today, so it's another win on Friday. So guaranteed. There you go.
Now that we have finished the conversion, we look forward to having you at Fiserv Forum. Go Bucks!